The Constitution is so desirous to protect. Most of the amendments of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, are designed to protect criminal defendants.
I just finished up on a local Michigan case. Megan Imowitz, who was charged with murdering her father because she got into a fight and threw a bunch of stuff at him. One of them happened to be lye, which burned him. But the interesting thing is the timeline doesn't really work, because at 10 a.m. he's supposedly naked and drunk. And she threw.
I noticed how as soon as Andrew Branca comes in here, you're describing someone as being naked and drunk.
I'm like, I came to the right party, obviously.
She ended up going away, but yeah, so that was a Michigan case. So I cover a variety of cases like that. But I will do a little plug. Zachariah Anderson, myself, Jeff from Legal Vices, Chandler Remington, and Solomon Anderson are doing a stream on my channel next Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern with a little bit of Anderson update as well as sort of a call to action. So if you guys are interested in the Zachariah Anderson case,
indeed,
yeah.
When are you doing that?
Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
We're doing a little update and a call to action.
I had Solomon Anderson on my show here once for an evening, and you know, you hear him talk about this case. It's so disturbing how this was such a miscarriage of basic concept of being proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Where it's just,
I mean, that was my first case that I streamed, and I started off and I was thinking, oh, you know, it's this, you know, jealous ex-boyfriend murder trial, and I was like, oh, it's going to be, you know, sort of a lot of drama and it'll be a fun case. And I get like the second day into it, I'm like, this is a shit show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? And then continue to watch it. And I'm like, there's no way they're going to find this guy guilty. Sure enough, they did. But
I'll tell you, man, if streaming trials was possible at the founding, our founding fathers would have made that a constitutional right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the transparency it provides is unbelievable. The normal world has no idea how these criminal trials are run.
Corruption's such an old song that we can sing along in harmony. I practiced the law, practically perfected it. I've seen injustice in the world and I've corrected it.
The Declaration of Independence. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consented of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariable the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their duty to throw off such government, and to provide new guards for the future security.
The Constitution is so desirous to protect. Most of the amendments of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, are designed to protect criminal defendants.
I'll tell you, man, if streaming trials was possible at the founding, our founding fathers would have made that a constitutional right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the transparency it provides is unbelievable. The normal world has no idea how these criminal trials are run.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely opened up a lot of minds, you know, particularly looking at the Rittenhouse trial. What I did was like, you know, it really helped people. I don't think people really even really understand what goes on in the, you know, in any of that. They watch like Law and Order or whatever, and they think that's what it is, and it's definitely not.
On that note, too, have you noticed that still, you can almost say, how do you say you didn't watch a trial without saying you didn't watch a trial? And you just look at the tweets from people about Rittenhouse, and you're like, okay, another one who didn't watch. Another one who didn't watch. Another one who didn't watch. They just out themselves.
And and it's become so stupidly tribal, and I deal with it on Twitter on a regular basis because people literally tag me into those conversations, and it's just like, you know, wait a minute, what do you mean you didn't shoot black people? You know, wait a minute, you know, he crossed state lines. with a gun and it's illegal. And I'm like, dude, we figured that out like 2 weeks into the trial. Like, where have you been? But it's so important to them to have that boogeyman that it's more important to them for them to be correct. But anyway,
and they win. It never goes away. It never goes away. The propaganda ultimately wins. So I give lectures at the FBI Academy at Quantico talking about the George Zimmerman trial, and I'm talking about all the lies, the propaganda around the trial, and I'll ask that audience, 300 senior federal law enforcement, local law enforcement from all around the country, how many people believe this about the trial? How many people believe that about the trial? And it's all the lies that were reported in the media. And these people who should be hardened, experienced, critically thinking investigators, they bought all that propaganda. Right. They repeated it themselves thousands of times. And when I prove to them beyond a shadow of a doubt, because I'll play the 911 call recording or whatever, that it could not have been the way they think it is, half of them, maybe half of them, accept the new reality. And the other half of them, you see them go into brain lock. So the reason they do this propaganda for these trials is because it's effective and it lasts forever.
Joseph Goebbels.